There's a moment we all share each morning, when your eyes open and you realize a new day's begun. Most people don't think much about what comes next. You sit up, swing your legs off the bed, maybe stretch a little, and get going. But I want to pause you right there. After more than 30 years studying how the body ages, how blood flow slows, how reflexes change, how joints behave differently after 60, I can tell you, those first 10 minutes after waking are more important than you think. They can shape not just your day, but your long-term health and independence. Let me tell you about a case I'll never forget. A 75-year-old man, healthy, active, no major issues, stood up too fast one morning and blacked out. No warning, no pain. He hit the floor hard. What seemed like a normal habit nearly changed his life forever. And he's not alone. Every day, countless older adults get hurt, not because of illness, but because of simple morning mistakes no one ever warned them about. That's why we're here. In this video, I'll walk you through 7 common mistakes people over 70 often make right after waking up, and more importantly, how to fix them with small, easy changes. No medications, no intense workouts, just better choices, rooted in science and decades of real experience. If you've ever felt lightheaded when getting up, stiff, groggy, or unsteady in the morning, this might be the most important 10 minutes of your day. Let's get started with the very first minute that could change everything. Mistake number 1, the sudden stand. So you're awake, eyes open, brain already thinking about what's next. Breakfast, errands, maybe what hurts a little less today. And without even thinking, your legs swing off the bed and you're standing. But here's where I need to gently step in, especially if you're over 60. Just because your mind is up doesn't mean your body is. Over time, the systems that keep your blood pressure steady, the ones that automatically send blood up to your brain when you stand, they start to slow down. That means if you get up too fast, your brain might not get enough oxygen for a moment. You might feel a little dizzy, or worse, not feel anything at all until you're already on the floor. It's called orthostatic hypotension. Big term, but it simply means your blood pressure drops when you change position too quickly. I've seen this more times than I can count. A healthy man in his 70s once came into the ER after collapsing in the morning. No stroke, no heart problem. He just stood up too fast, and his body couldn't keep up. So what can you do about it? Honestly, it's simple, and it works. When you wake up, don't rush. Take a few deep breaths. Sit up slowly. Pause for a few seconds before your feet touch the ground. Then move your ankles around a little. Wiggle your toes. Feel your feet connect to the floor before you fully stand. Think of it like warming up your engine on a cold morning. You don't slam into drive. You let the system get going first. This may sound minor, but it's not. Falls are the #1 reason older adults end up in the hospital, and many of them happen in the first hour after waking. Not because someone was careless, but because they moved too quickly before their body was fully online. I once worked with a retired teacher, 78, sharp, active, but she'd had 2 minor falls at home. When we talked about her mornings, she said, "I just get up fast. I don't want to feel lazy." And that stuck with me. Because she wasn't lazy. She was just ignoring what her body was quietly asking for. After 2 weeks of slowing down, her balance improved. She told me later, it wasn't weakness. It was respect. So if you take just one thing from this video, let your body ease into the day. That first minute may seem unimportant, but it could be the difference between a steady step and a dangerous fall. Not just today, but for years to come. Now let's talk about mistake number 2. One that happens even before you take your first sip of coffee. Forgetting to drink water. Let me ask something simple. What's the very first thing you drink in the morning? If you said coffee, you're not alone. Most people do. But what's often missing and quietly working against you, is one small glass of plain water. You might not feel thirsty when you wake up. That's normal, especially as we get older. The brain's thirst signals, the ones that would usually push you to drink, get quieter with age. So even if your body needs water, it doesn't always ask for it. But here's the thing. While you sleep, your body's still working. Your heart keeps beating. Your lungs keep breathing. Your kidneys are filtering. And all that activity uses up fluid, drop by drop. By the time you open your eyes, you're already a little dehydrated. It may not seem like much, but even mild dehydration in older adults can affect your whole system. The blood gets thicker, making your heart work harder. Digestion slows down. You might feel foggy, sluggish, or lightheaded, and not realize it's from something as basic as low fluid levels. I remember a patient, 82 years old, came in thinking he was developing early dementia or heart problems. Turned out all his tests were normal. The only thing he wasn't doing? Drinking water in the morning? Just 1 week after adding a glass of water first thing, before coffee or pills, he told me, "I still feel my age, but I don't feel exhausted anymore." It wasn't a miracle. It was just his body finally getting what it needed to function properly. Water first thing in the morning is like flipping on the main switch for your body. It helps your circulation get going. It wakes up your digestive system. It supports your kidneys and liver as they flush out the leftovers from the night before. And if you take medication, which most older adults do, that water helps it absorb better and eases the load on your stomach. You don't need to overthink it. Just place a glass of water by your bed or near whatever you usually grab first, your phone, your glasses, your remote. Make it part of the routine. A few sips before you stand, before coffee, before anything else. If you want to add lemon or a little flavor, fine. But plain water does the job beautifully. It's a small habit, but in an aging body, it's a powerful signal. I'm here, I'm awake, I'm ready to support you. So tomorrow morning, before the news or the caffeine or the rush, reach for that glass. It might be the gentlest and smartest health decision you make all day. And now we come to mistake number 3. One that feels comforting, but can quietly backfire: drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Look, I love coffee. Many of my patients do too. That warm, rich aroma, it's part of what makes mornings feel like mornings. But the timing, and what you put in your stomach first, really matters, especially as we age. Here's the issue. When your stomach is empty and you pour in a hot, acidic, caffeinated drink, you're asking for trouble. Coffee naturally stimulates acid production. With no food to buffer it, that acid can irritate the stomach lining, especially in older adults whose gut lining tends to be thinner and more sensitive. And then there's cortisol, your body's stress hormone. Caffeine causes it to spike, even more so first thing in the morning. If your system is already vulnerable to anxiety, a racing heart, or blood pressure swings, that extra cortisol push can make you feel wired, jittery, or even exhausted by midday. I once had a patient, sharp, active, in her late 60s, who kept saying, "I don't understand why I feel anxious by 10 a.m. We looked at everything until we realized her only morning fuel was black coffee. No food, just caffeine on an empty system. Once she added half a banana or a handful of almonds before her coffee, the difference was immediate. No more shakes, no more mid-morning crash. So here's what I suggest. Don't give up coffee, just support it. Eat something small before that first cup. A few crackers, a slice of toast, a spoonful of yogurt. Anything to give your stomach a base. That way, the caffeine doesn't slam your system all at once. It enters slowly, giving you energy without the spikes and crashes. It's a small change, but it transforms your morning from a roller coaster into a smooth ride. Think of it like this. Your coffee should lift you, not fight you. Now, mistake number 4. and this one surprises a lot of people, is skipping any kind of warm-up before you start moving. It's easy to forget that while we're sleeping, our muscles and joints are resting too. They're not ready to twist, bend, or lift the moment you wake up. But many of us, especially as we get older, hop out of bed and go straight into bending over for a pet bowl, lifting a kettle, or heading to the bathroom. And that's where things can go wrong. Overnight, your joints settle. Synovial fluid, the natural lubricant inside your joints, thickens a little. Your back decompresses. Your circulation slows. So if you immediately start moving like everything's fully warmed up, you risk little strains, the kind you don't feel until later in the day. And over time, those little strains build into bigger issues: swelling, stiffness, and even chronic pain. I had a patient, early 70s, who kept tweaking her lower back, doing the most ordinary things, brushing her teeth, picking up her purse. It wasn't because she was doing anything wrong, but because she wasn't preparing her body to move yet. The fix? Just a few minutes of gentle movement right from the bed. While you're still lying down, circle your ankles, stretch your fingers, gently rotate your neck. When you sit up, roll your shoulders, lift your arms slowly, maybe take a few deep breaths while you straighten your spine. It doesn't need to be a full exercise routine. It's more like saying good morning to your joints and muscles, letting them know it's time to wake up and work with you, not against you. So before you head into your day, give your body that little runway. It's not about doing more. It's about doing it right. And that tiny bit of care can mean fewer aches, more confidence, and a much smoother start. If this has been helpful so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep sharing practical tips like these, especially for those of us navigating health and aging with more care and intention. All right, let's keep going. Mistake number 5 is one that seems harmless, but it can quietly affect your breathing, digestion, and even your mood. And it starts with posture. Most people don't think much about how they sit up in the morning. You swing your legs off the bed and kind of fold forward, shoulders slumped, head down. It feels natural. You're still waking up, after all. But that hunched over position? It has more impact than you think. When you slouch, your chest collapses inward, which limits how much air you can take in. Your lungs have less room to expand, and with shallow breaths, your brain doesn't get the oxygen it needs to fully wake up. You might feel slow, foggy, or just off. And then there's digestion. A compressed belly puts pressure on your stomach and intestines, slowing things down and sometimes causing discomfort or bloating. It's not just about the body either. Posture and mindset are deeply connected. I've seen it again and again. When someone straightens up, lifts their chest, relaxes their shoulders, breathes deeply, they don't just look more confident, they feel more confident. And that sets a completely different tone for the day. You don't need a mirror or a complicated routine. Just take 20 seconds before standing up to adjust. Sit tall. Place both feet flat on the ground. Imagine a string gently pulling the top of your head toward the ceiling. Take a deep breath. That simple act opens your lungs, supports your spine, and signals to your brain, I'm awake and I'm steady. I had a patient who told me she never realized how much her mood was tied to her posture until she started changing it first thing in the morning. Within days, she felt more energized. Not because of supplements or sleep changes, just because her body was finally aligned with her breath and focus. So tomorrow morning, before you even take your first step, take one breath sitting tall. It's not about appearance, it's about feeling grounded and starting your day with clarity, not collapse. Let's move on. Mistake number 6 is one most people never think about, until it causes a stumble. Not checking in with your legs. We tend to assume our legs are ready the moment we stand. But especially after 70, that's not always true. Balance, control, and strength in the lower body can fade gradually. and silently. The nerves that tell your brain where your feet are in space become less responsive with age. Muscles lose tone, joints get stiff. And the scary part? Most people don't notice until it's too late. A misstep in the bedroom, a trip in the hallway, a fall in the bathroom. I remember a patient, early 80s, active, sharp, who told me she felt like her legs were disconnected when she stood up. Not painful, just off. That feeling was her body saying, "I need a moment." And that's the key. You don't need to go straight from bed to walking. Give your legs and your brain a chance to reconnect. Before you stand, take just 2 minutes while sitting on the edge of the bed. Circle your ankles. Flex your toes up and down. Press your feet gently into the floor. Close your eyes for a second and feel your weight evenly on both sides. These tiny movements wake up the neuromuscular system. They help your brain recalibrate where your body is in space, and they help you stand with stability, not hesitation. Most falls in older adults happen in familiar places: the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen. It's not the environment that changed. It's the body that wasn't fully ready to move. So tomorrow morning, before you take your first step, take a moment to feel your feet on the ground. Let your body know where it is. That simple check-in could be the reason you stay standing, not just today, but long into the future. And here's the 7th mistake, and honestly, it's one of the most overlooked: starting your day in the dark. You might not think much about it. You wake up, the room's still dim. Maybe you sit there for a few minutes or walk to the kitchen with a small lamp on. But here's the thing. Your body doesn't fully know it's morning yet. Without real light, your internal clock stays stuck in night mode, and that throws off everything. As we age, the body's natural rhythm, the one that tells us when to feel awake and when to wind down, gets less precise. It relies heavily on light to stay in sync. And morning light is especially powerful. It helps raise energy, improves mood, and even sets the stage for better sleep later that night. Without it, you might feel groggy well into mid-morning, and then oddly restless at bedtime. I've seen so many older adults struggle with this, not because of any serious illness, but simply because they were starting their day in dimness. I once worked with a man who kept saying, "I'm tired all day but wide awake at 11 p.m. When we looked at his routine, he wasn't opening the curtains until mid-morning. After a week of letting daylight in right after waking, just pulling the curtains open and letting it hit his face, his whole rhythm shifted. He slept better, had more energy, and felt mentally sharper. You don't need to go sit in the sun for an hour. Just open the blinds within 5 minutes of waking. Even a cloudy day gives enough light to cue your brain that it's time to be alert. If you can, take a step outside or stand by a window. Just let your eyes and skin register the start of the day. Light isn't just for seeing, it's a message to your brain. Wake up. Be present. Let's go. And when you send that message early, everything else, energy, focus, digestion, mood, starts to follow. So there you have it. 7 simple mistakes that sneak into our mornings without us even noticing. Standing up too fast, skipping water, drinking coffee on an empty stomach, moving before we're ready, slouching without realizing, forgetting our legs, and staying in the dark. On their own, each one seems small, but together, over time, they shape how you feel, how you move, and how your body holds up, not just for today, but for years to come. None of these fixes require a prescription. No fancy equipment. No gym membership. Just a little awareness. And a little respect for a body that's still doing its best for you every day. And maybe that's the real message here. Aging isn't about doing more. It's about doing things more wisely. So tomorrow morning, take that minute. Sit up slowly. Drink your water. Move gently. Stand tall. Feel your feet. Let the light in. Start your day not in a rush, but in rhythm, with yourself. And if this video helped you in any way, pass it along to someone you care about. Leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe. We're here to help you live each day with more strength, clarity, and calm. Take care, and may tomorrow morning greet you with steadiness and light.